So are we starting?
You start. We're rolling.
We're rolling. Okay, we're rolling. Okay.
Okay. We speak of you as we're proudly presenting a body-based artist who is interdisciplinary, right? Is that how you describe yourself?
I consider myself a live artist.
Live artist,
Yeah,
meaning?
live art. I work with liveness, with the body as a part of that conversation. But I'm also deeply invested in things of community and social activism and what it really means to like congregate as a larger society around an idea, a concept, you know. I mean, remember when we were in this very same place, you know, just talking about live ideas, you know, and how that might become a thing, you know. And I think that is something that I'm still very much aware of, you know, the possibility that ideas have to change the world, really, to teach us new pathways and new ways of being with each other.
I might ask you, okay, so how is this different than the conversation someone might have had with Alvin Ailey in 1960 when he was about, maybe about 60 when he was first doing his first concerts, or for that matter, Merce Cunningham. But no, let's stay with the black one. How is that different?
Let's stay with the black one.
Yeah, let's stay. Well, I think it focuses it in a way,
exactly.
right? So, body-based art.
Yeah.
So, classical modern dance is body-based art. What has changed? What are...
Ooh, yes, what has changed? I think there's something about, I think the way in which Ailey might have had to prove a kind of validity to even be on a stage, let alone to be a dancing body on stage at a time that was so fraught. You know, I think while we've made a lot of progress, there will always be artists that are exploring new ways of being and presenting the body. And I think for myself, I'm really concerned with complicating what virtuosity really means, you know, especially as it pertains to Black identity and Black labor and how we position that in the public domain and in front of a predominantly white gaze.
Well, you're saying a lot. Okay, you want to complicate virtuosity in light of the social dimension that we all have to live in.
Sure.
Can we just dig down into that a little? What do you mean by virtuosity? I mean, are you a trained dancer?
One might say so. But yeah, I've trained. But I've never considered myself a dancer. Like
this is what I felt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's great and it's funny to me also that I was so accepted into this form. But you know, dance tends to be the kind of catch-all for off weirdos that can't really conform in anywhere else. It's like, oh, dance, well, we'll take you over here. At least in the U.S., you know, because they're really, I mean, as you know, in Europe, you know, there's live art. I mean, this place is called New York Live Arts, you know, so there is a genre of live art that is really concerned with, you know, liveness and performativity, but also complicating what that can be and mean in the public space.
So you use language in a way like a poet would, liveness.
Yeah.
So in other words, time-based work.
Yes, exactly.
And I've said that to sculptors. They said, what makes you think my work is not time-based?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, okay. Maybe you're right, you know. But we know when there's an expectation, people don't intend to move in with us for the next 10 years, that when they come in, they expect that this thing is going to have gone through some change, and somewhere between an hour and a half to 3 hours, you're going to be released.
Experience will occur, and
And you're going to watch a body on stage that is not bionic. It gets tired.
Yes.
You're going to see it go from being dry to being covered with sweat. This body is also, it can be really close to you. It can be in a social space. It can be far away. Is this what you mean by the complications of what liveness? Maybe we should just turn a bit more to the piece right now. I've seen the photographs, the video of it. It's kind of ominous. This shaman figure. Well, tell me about it.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I really see it as a kind of journey. It's almost a what I might call a sort of a live art memoir in a way, where I've essentially, a couple of years, I've been working on these installments in various environments, from Los Angeles to New York to Johannesburg to
small
Sweden.
spaces, large spaces.
A variety. It really has been a variety of spaces, from small galleries to large, like churches. The space that I was in Sweden was humongous, and I'm like, well, I've never performed in a space this big before. And so it's forced the piece to sort of expand and contract in a way that's continuously asking me to expand and contract, and to reimagine, how I'm relating to this body of work, to these installments. But essentially, the biomythography that I'm showing here is a collection of these installments.
Biomythology.
The biomythography.
A biography that is, in fact, the mythology.
Mm-hmm. That's the way to think about it.
Yes, right. So talk to me about how is your body used in it?
Yes, my body is used as a performer in it, but also as an instigator, as a sort of co-conspirator between the other performers and actors on the stage. On the stage, you will find not only myself, but you will find the sound designer, the lighting designer, my celebrants, if you will, Niall Harris and Mayfield Brooks, who are sort of helping me sort of shape and tell this narrative. And then essentially there's also the audience that I'm inviting to be, participants inside of this journey as well.
How so?
Well, the first way in which you come into the work is through what I call the shrine, and it's a way of kind of exhibiting my archive, my archive of texts, of stories, of images, of moving images.
Is it an Africanist archive?
I would say so. I mean, it's me, and I'm African, so.
So the images, you're not a Southern Baptist.
I'm not a Southern Baptist, but my grandma, is.
So fundamentalism at Africa, she was Nigerian?
My grandmother was Southern, risen right out of Natchez, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So my story is one that's really, that's a whole other interview, but, my family, there's Catholicism, there's there's the Southern Baptist, there's Jehovah's Witness, there's Muslims, the nations of, it's a.
But in a way, it's a very American story.
But a very American story.
But it's diasporic in its focus. Exactly. Well, okay. How did you make the decision to have your body in this work?
Well, all of my work have centered me. Really, they tend to revolve around me in some way, and kind of span out.
What do you think that is? What is that?
I think it's a need to try to, again, that goes back to that idea of authoring, because I never would have imagined myself in the world in such a way. I could not have imagined, me sitting with you, to discuss my premiere in this venue. You know, like this is not something that I thought was in the cards for me. You know.
Well, no, I've always felt you were an intelligent, kind, and self-effacing character. But I'm going to ask you to put that aside. Why is it different when you're doing it?
Because it's...
Maybe I'm asking, what are the stakes?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the way, I mean, you know, I'm working with this amazing assistant director, Jennifer Kidwell, and she's helping me to know, I mean, she just keeps saying, you know, well, how does this pertain to your biomythography? How does this relate to your biomythography? And
as
if
opposed
it's not a part of that, then we have to take it out.
As opposed to whose biomythology?
Well, it's easy to, I think it would be easy to become distracted and to, as I tend to do, and to want to, you know, make this about someone else, or, you know, to try to make it about, you know, I don't know, another character, or a fictionalized character even, or something.
Mm-hmm.
And not, by no means am I knocking that as a process, but I think I'm getting at something that has to do with a kind of sensorial interiority that I think is very specific to the way in which I see and understand the world and move through the world.
Now I'm going to translate that into African American parlance. In other words, you want to testify.
I want to testify.
And it's me, Olawale, nobody else. I am not an abstraction. I am and that's what this is a challenge, you know. Like, I know that when I was beginning to work, they were saying, why is it always so self-referential? You know? And I didn't know why. I just thought that I felt I had power and strength behind it, and I had my mother and father's voice, and I thought that I was performing in this room full of usually white people, and I was bringing a whole biomythology. I didn't call it mythology at that time. I thought it was legend or history. I was trying to bring that into this froth that was the art world, the social climate of counterculture. I was bringing all that in there and throwing it down next to Johnny from Milwaukee, who is a redhead, you know, next to this girl. But I thought we were all the same, you know. It's just another story. But it wasn't just another story. Now here we are, and my friend, my brother, is saying that it's very important that it be I'm bearing witness. I'm speaking.
I think you're absolutely right, Bill. It's something about how I can testify, and because I do feel like this for me is very much a ministry, you know.
Ministry?
It is, you know,
wow.
To use such a word, but, you know, and I'm not, you know, heavily, like, religious or anything like that, but when
you have superpower? I mean, super entity in your life?
I do. You know, I certainly believe in a higher power, and I hold it dear and true. But by no means, do I sort of prescribe, I think, to, like, you know, a sort of overarching, like, religion. But I am influenced by many different traditions.
And I feel it in you. But I'm trying to understand what this ministry is.
Yes.
You know, they used to tell us back in the day, I remember Charlie Reinhardt from the American Dance Festival back in the 70s, when many people just discovered Tai Chi. Says, I don't care what you do, but I'm tired of people bringing their religion on stage. I'm tired of too much Tai Chi on stage. What he was saying, you know.
Right. Well, I'm not gonna, like, you know, proclaim to anoint anybody or save anybody, you know what I mean?
Or heal the world.
For
sure, you hear that a lot.
Exactly.
The world needs healing.
Well, that is true.
And art is supposed to be instrumental in that healing of the world.
It is.
And I'm hearing you say that you have a ministry.
And it is.
What is that ministry's objective?
I think as you so keenly mentioned, you know, I think at the core is a proposal for healing. Psychosis in pieces.
Black man-child broken in pieces all over the linoleum, the countertops. Living in shards now, no more secrets. I will cut anyone who gets too close.
But yeah, I think spiritual time is something that is felt and is emotional, and it's not conformist. You know, it's not easily regimented. You know, it's not capitalist.
Mm.
You know, I mean, it's not easily understood.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, tell me, here's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What do you want to? Do I say review? Write about your trip? Do you want dance? Do you want theater? Do you want music? Do you want performance? Do you want visual art? What eyes do you think would be most able to understand? And is it eyes only or is it ears? Which ones?
I would hope. I mean, I would hope. That's a good question. I think ideally a literary reviewer would be ideal for me. That's what I would hope for. You know, if I had to choose, because I find that this work specifically. I was just in Pittsburgh performing some of this at the Center for African American Poetry and Poetics. And that as a kind of framework felt perfect, honestly, because I think the way in which a poetic brain and mind is able to translate the information to visual content is really exciting. You know, and the conversations that I was able to have with, you know, my peer group in that specific framework felt really exciting to me. Autumn Night is going to do the conversation here on April 9th, and she's an artist that I've followed for many years.
So she's going to do the Stay Late conversation at New York Live Arts?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And she is a multimedia interdisciplinary artist. You know, she's working between text and film and live performance and all the things. And so I think that's going to be a really rich dialogue as someone who is also sort of very much a shapeshifter, kind of chameleonic, you know, presence. You know,
That's
stage.
exciting.
Yeah.
One more thing, kind of left field. Are you going to vote?
Oh, of course, yes. I'm going to have to vote absentee because I'll be always somewhere else.
So
but I will be voting.
You're still hopeful about the democratic process here? You still feel it's real, and there's something for people, particularly people of color, in this process,
I know it's real, but I think it's only as real as we believe it. Democracy is only as real as we believe it to be. You know, so the moment that we choose not to believe in it is the moment that it ceases to mean.
Well, I feel that the people that we really are mad to have already decided
not to continue.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
They're all the same. Look who's going to end it.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people?
Oh, Bill, you know, Lord, I am still very much wrapping my head around this contemporary moment. And this is a very important moment. You know, I want to believe in America, and I am a product of America. So if I'm to believe in myself, then I have to believe in this country. You know, but and also I think it's really important that as Black people. And I think the 1619 Project was really trying to get at this, and is getting at this, but how, you know, so much of the American fabric as we know it is woven by Black folks, you know, by enslaved Black people. We're the foundation of this country, and essentially, you know, have made it what it is in so many ways. And I think it's really important that we don't forget that we remember that we have as deep a stake in no matter how much it's been erased, or no matter how much we've been told otherwise, that we have just as deep a stake in our future as Americans as anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, sir. It's really stimulating to speak to you, and I see a wonderful frontier in what your questions are. And I will certainly be there, and
I can't wait to talk to you about it.
I want to see it.
I want to talk to you about it. What the hell you thought that was? What happened for you in that? But,
you know, as you know, I spent a lot of the years lonely and waiting for Jaamil Kosoko. You know, and people don't understand what I mean by that, and I think I botched it in a way, but no, the world is not the same as it was when I came in it, and then Arnie and I were in it.
Yeah. And so I bow because, you know, I recognize and I know it's because of the experimentation and the foresight and just all of the work and labor that you've done in this industry that allows for someone like me to even, you know, be.
Now I'm depending on you. Yeah. You know, when Oliver Sacks said in that New York Times essay that he had spent his life being concerned about the world, he got a diagnosis of fourth level cancer. And he said, but you know what? After judging the young people who took care of me recently, I think the world's okay, he said. I'm willing to let them have it. Well, I'm not quite there, but, you know, my brother, you know, I'm counting on you, you know, I'm going to tell the truth. Yeah.